You're breathing microplastics right now, not outside, inside your home. Your sofa, your curtains, even your cozy blanket. Together, they're the biggest microplastic factory you own, running 24/7. In this episode, 7 microplastic sources in your home you never think about. First up, soft furnishings. Because your textiles and foam fillings shed invisible microplastics non-stop. They float into the air you breathe, settle on everything, and build up without you ever noticing. Every time you sit, walk, or fluff a cushion, tiny fibres launch into the air, settling on every surface. And inside your furniture, synthetic fillings and foams quietly breaking down into microplastics and VOCs. VOCs, or volatile organic compounds, evaporate into your air, move into your lungs, and absorb through your skin, linked to irritation, hormone disruption, and long-term health concerns. So what can you actually do about it? Here are 12 simple fixes that cut microplastics from your soft furnishings. 1. Start with natural materials. Choose cotton, linen, wool, hemp. They shed far less microplastics than synthetics. Why it matters. Natural fibers don't break down into plastic dust. 2. Go for natural fillings. Pick wool, kapok, or natural latex instead of polyurethane foam. Why it matters. Foam is one of the biggest indoor microplastic sources. 3. Wash new textiles before using them. Curtains, cushions, throws. Give them a gentle wash to remove loose fibers. Why it matters. New fabrics shed the most in their first few uses. 4. Vacuum smarter with a HEPA filter. Go over sofas, cushions, curtains, and rugs, not just the floor. Why it matters. HEPA filters trap microfibers instead of blowing them back into your air. 5. Use an air purifier with a HEPA filter. It helps capture airborne fibers and VOCs. Why it matters. Cleaner air means fewer microplastics reaching your lungs. 6. Open the windows more often. A bit of fresh air helps clear out VOCs and stale indoor air. Why it matters. VOCs build up quickly in closed rooms. 7. Swap microfiber cloths for cotton. Microfiber cloths shed microplastics every time you wipe. Why it matters. Your cleaning routine shouldn't add more microplastics. 8. Use washable covers. A cotton or wool cover over cushions and mattresses works wonders. Why it matters. Covers catch fibers before they escape into dust. 9. Let new furniture off gas before using it. Unwrap it in a ventilated space for a few days. Why it matters. This reduces the initial burst of VOCs and chemical fumes. 10. Repair instead of replace. Fix small tears so foam doesn't get exposed. Why it matters. Exposed foam breaks down faster and releases more microplastics. 11. Choose tightly woven fabrics. Higher quality textiles shed less and last longer. Why it matters. Tighter weaves mean fewer fibers breaking off. 12. Skip the fabric sprays and stain-proof coatings. Fresheners, wrinkle sprays, stain guards. They add chemicals you don't need. Why it matters. These treatments increase VOCs and can speed up fiber breakdown. Now, the second big source, children's items. Children today grow up in a world filled with plastic, long before they can walk or talk. UNICEF calls them Generation Plastic, exposed from day one. And here's the real issue. Kids aren't just near plastics, they're more vulnerable to microplastics and the chemicals they release. Here's what that looks like. 1. Let's start with toys and soft toys. Most kids' toys, especially the cheaper ones, are made from plastics like PVC, polypropylene, polyethylene, and synthetic plush fibers. And these shed microplastics constantly, from chewing, squeezing, dragging them around, and even when you wash soft toys. Why it matters. Kids put toys in their mouths, sleep with them, and keep them right up against their faces, which means more microplastics inhaled and swallowed. 2. Now let's talk baby bottles and feeding gear. Plastic bottles, sippy cups, and food containers can shed microplastics every time they're heated, sterilized, shaken, or even just scratched from daily use. And studies show those particles can end up in the liquid your baby drinks, even under normal conditions. Why it matters. Infants take in more per body weight, and their developing systems are far more sensitive to chemical exposure. And then there's children's clothing. A lot of kids' clothes are made from polyester fleece, acrylic knits, nylon sportswear, and those easy care or performance fabrics. And these shed microfibers all the time, when kids wear them, play in them, wash them, or even when they're drying on the rack. Why it matters. Children breathe more air for their body size than adults, so they take in more of these airborne fibers. And here's a big one. People often overlook playmats and foam tiles. A lot of those soft, colorful mats are made from EVA foam, polyurethane foam, or PVC. And over time, they break down, releasing microplastics, VOCs, and even flame-retardant chemicals into the air. Why it matters. Babies crawl, roll, and spend long stretches face down on these surfaces, which means a direct pathway for inhalation and skin exposure. And let's not forget outdoor playgrounds. Those soft, bouncy rubber crumb surfaces, often made from recycled tires, are a major source of microplastics, heavy metals, and PAHs. UNICEF even flags tire crumb infill as a known source of hazardous plastic-related chemicals for children. Why it matters. Kids fall on it, touch it, and yes, sometimes even mouth the particles. And then there's all the school stuff. Think plastic pencil cases, PVC erasers, glitter, stickers, plastic lunchboxes, and synthetic backpacks, all the everyday bits kids use without a second thought. These shed microplastics simply through daily wear and tear. Why it matters. Kids handle these items constantly, then touch their faces or eat without washing their hands, which means easy pathways for microplastic exposure. And we also need to look at nursery and bedroom items. Things like plastic mobiles, synthetic bedding, polyester curtains, foam mattresses, and plastic storage bins all shed tiny particles over time. Together, they add to the microplastic dust that builds up indoors. And children breathe in more of it simply because they spend more time inside. Why it matters. Those particles can reach the lungs or the gut, where they may trigger inflammation and other health concerns. So let's talk about household dust, because this one catches people off guard. Dust isn't just skin cells, it's actually packed with microplastics. Every time we walk on carpets, sit on sofas, shake out clothes, or open plastic packaging, tiny fibers and fragments break off and float through the air before settling on surfaces. And the simple way to cut this down: vacuum, with a HEPA filter. It traps those particles instead of blowing them back into the room. And here's the part most people never think about. Soft furnishings are constant shedders. Carpets, cushions, curtains, bedding. Anything made from polyester or nylon. Release microfibers just from everyday use. The easy fix. Switch to damp dusting. A slightly wet cloth grabs particles instead of spreading them around. And to make things trickier, modern homes are sealed tight. Great for warmth, not so great for ventilation. With less fresh air moving through, microplastics hang around longer and settle into thicker layers of dust. The simple habit. Open windows for a few minutes a day. Even a short burst of fresh air helps clear out airborne particles. As we mentioned back in part 3, the one on microplastics in personal care products, tiny fibers don't just disappear once they leave our clothes. Synthetic fabrics shed microfibers every time they're worn or washed, and those fibers don't just go down the drain, they also end up floating around your home and settling into indoor dust. The easy shift. Wash synthetics less often, use shorter cycles, or add a microfiber catching laundry bag to stop some of those fibers at the source. And when it's time to replace things, choosing natural materials like cotton, wool, or linen means far fewer synthetic fibers drifting through your home. It's a long-term win. Natural fibers break down on their own instead of lingering as microplastics. If you're looking to cut microplastics in your home, we've pulled together a list of third-party tested, certified HEPA filters. You can find direct links to each one in the description below. For a deeper breakdown and full details, check out the blog on design9zen.com. You know what's wild? One of the biggest sources of microplastics in your home isn't your clothes or your cleaning products. It's your electronics. Yep, the very devices we're using right now. Think about it. Phones, laptops, TVs, headphones, chargers. They're all built with plastic, not just the casing. Inside, you've got circuit boards, insulation, wiring coatings, fan housings, keyboard membranes, all made from engineered plastics designed to survive heat, pressure, and constant use. But here's the twist. Every time these devices heat up, cool down, vibrate, or get knocked around in your bag, they shed. Slowly, invisibly, microfragments break off. And because electronics run warm, those plastics age faster, becoming brittle, cracking, and releasing even more particles. Ever noticed that slightly dusty smell when your laptop fan kicks in? That's not just dust, that's a cocktail of fibres, skin cells and microplastics from the device itself. And then there's e-waste. When old electronics sit in drawers, or worse, end up in landfill, the plastic casings break down under sunlight and moisture, releasing microplastics straight into soil and waterways. Globally, e-waste is one of the fastest growing waste streams, and plastics make up a huge chunk of it. So what can you actually do? Good news. You don't need to throw your phone into the Thames and move to a cave. Small changes make a real difference. 1. Keep devices cool. Heat accelerates plastic breakdown. Don't block vents. Don't use laptops on soft surfaces. Avoid leaving phones in hot cars or under pillows. 2. Use protective cases, but choose wisely. A good case absorbs shocks, so the device itself sheds less plastic. Go for silicone or TPU. TPU is a tough, rubbery plastic that bends instead of breaking. Avoid cheap brittle plastics that shed even faster. 3. Clean electronics gently, not aggressively. Harsh scrubbing equals more abrasion equals more microplastics. Use a soft microfiber cloth and avoid alcohol wipes unless necessary. 4. Recycle electronics properly. This is the big one. Certified e-waste recycling keeps plastics out of landfills and recovers valuable materials. Most councils, retailers, and repair shops now offer drop-off points. A few smart habits can slash the microplastics electronics shed and make them last longer. Good for your home, your wallet, and the planet. You know what's wild? The very tools we use to clean our homes are quietly dirtying them again. Yep, your sponges, your microfiber cloths, your mop heads, they're all tiny plastic factories. And every scrub, swipe, and rinse sends a little plastic confetti into your home's air, your drains, and eventually your body. Let's break it down. 1. Sponges, the silent shredders. Most kitchen sponges are made from polyurethane or polyethylene, basically soft plastic. And every time you scrub a pan, wipe a counter, or squeeze it out under hot water, tiny fragments shear off. National Geographic notes that microplastics are already floating through our indoor air and water, and cleaning tools are a major contributor. So how to reduce shedding? Switch to cellulose sponges. They're plant-based and shed far less. Avoid boiling or microwaving plastic sponges. Heat accelerates breakdown. 2. Microfiber cloths. They clean brilliantly because they're made of ultrafine polyester and nylon threads. But those same threads shed like crazy, especially when washed. Synthetic fabrics like polyester and nylon are major microplastic shedders during use and laundering. So how to reduce shedding? Choose pure cotton cloths. Use tighter weave microfibers. They shed less. Wash them in a full load to reduce friction. Add a microfiber laundry filter or a washing bag designed to trap fibers. Air dry instead of tumble drying. Heat and tumbling increase fiber loss. 3. Brooms and brushes. The friction machines. Plastic bristles wear down every time they scrape across tile, wood, or concrete. It's slow, but constant, and the particles stay in your home's dust. So, how to reduce shedding? Choose natural fiber brushes like coconut, sisal, or Tampico. Tampico is a durable, water-absorbing natural fiber made from the agave cactus. Sweep gently. Aggressive pressure equals more bristle wear. Replace worn-out heads early. Frayed bristles shed the most. 4. Mop heads. The microplastic mopsplosion. Many mop heads are polyester blends. When they drag across rough floors, they shed. When you wash them, they shed even more. How to reduce shedding? Switch to cotton or bamboo mop heads. Wash on cold, low-friction cycles. Use a laundry filter to catch fibers before they hit the drain. 5. Scrub pads. The heavy-duty offenders. Those green scouring pads. They're basically sandpaper made of plastic. High friction plus hot water equals microplastic snowstorm. How to reduce shedding? Use copper or stainless steel scrubbers. They last longer and don't shed plastic. For delicate surfaces, use loofah or natural fiber scrubbers. So here's the twist. You don't need to overhaul your entire cleaning routine. Just swap a few tools, wash them smarter, and suddenly you've cut a major source of microplastics in your home. Because the truth is, microplastics aren't just coming from oceans and factories, they're coming from the things we touch every single day. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's talk about something you walk on every single day, but probably never think about. Your flooring. Yep, the literal ground beneath your feet might be one of the biggest microplastic factories in your home. So how does that even happen? Well, a surprising amount of modern flooring is basically plastic in disguise. Vinyl flooring? Plastic. Laminate flooring? Plastic layers. Carpets? Often made from nylon, polyester, or polypropylene. All plastics. And here's the twist. Every time you walk, drag a chair, vacuum, or even just live your life, these materials slowly wear down. That wear and tear creates tiny fragments, microplastics, that settle into dust, float into the air, and eventually end up in your lungs, your food, and your cleaning cloths. And carpets, they're the overachievers of microplastic shedding. The fibres break down, but they also trap microplastics from shoes, clothing, and the outside world. So carpets don't just create microplastics, they collect them like a museum of everything you've ever stepped on. But don't panic. You don't need to rip up your floors or live on polished concrete like you're in a minimalist art gallery. There are smart, realistic ways to reduce microplastics from flooring. 1. Vacuum smarter, not harder. Use a vacuum with a HEPA filter. It traps the tiny particles that regular vacuums just blow back into the room. 2. Adopt a shoes-off rule. Most microplastics in carpets come from outside. Leave them at the door, literally. 3. Damp dust instead of dry dusting. Dry dusting just flicks microplastics back into the air. A slightly damp cloth captures them and keeps them out of your lungs. 4. When replacing flooring, choose low-shedding materials. Look for solid wood, bamboo, cork, natural linoleum, not vinyl, wool carpets. These shed far fewer microplastics over time. 5. Avoid harsh cleaners. Strong chemicals can break down plastic-based flooring faster. Gentle cleaners equals slower wear equals fewer microplastics. So the next time you're walking around your home, remember, your flooring isn't just a surface. It's a source. But with a few small changes, you can dramatically cut down the microplastics under your feet and in your air. Microplastics don't float around alone. They team up with indoor air chemicals and dust to create a bigger pollution ecosystem. Let's get clear about what really happens when scented candles burn, especially those made with paraffin wax and synthetic fragrances. They can release things like formaldehyde, benzene, toluene, pH phthalates, and even fine soot particles into the air. Why does that matter? pH phthalates and certain synthetic fragrances are known to interfere with hormones. Over time, studies have linked long exposure to issues like reduced sperm quality, menstrual changes, and even fertility challenges. It's not just that. Burning these candles also adds extra volatile compounds and formaldehyde to the air, which can irritate the lungs and raise long-term health risks. Now, since we've already uncovered how scented candles can carry hidden toxins, let's talk about how to choose healthier ones instead. First up, the wax. Skip the paraffin. It's a petroleum byproduct. And instead go for natural waxes like beeswax, soy, or coconut. They burn cleaner and don't release the same harmful chemicals. Next, the wick. Believe it or not, some candles still use metal core wicks, which can release heavy metals into the air. A safer bet? Cotton, hemp, or even wooden wicks. They're simple, natural, and much healthier for your home environment. Now, fragrance. This is a big one. Synthetic fragrances often hide a cocktail of chemicals. If you want that cozy scent without the toxins, choose candles scented with pure essential oils. Think lavender, citrus, or eucalyptus, nature's own aromatherapy. And finally, certifications. Labels matter. Look for organic certifications or eco-labels that show the candle has been tested and meets higher safety standards. So the takeaway: with just a little attention to wax, wick, fragrance, and certification, you can still enjoy the warm glow and soothing scent of candles, without filling your space with microplastics or hidden toxins. Here's the part most people never think about. The stuff that's supposed to clean your dishes can actually leave behind a residue that irritates your gut, and sometimes even brings microplastics along for the ride. Those emulsifiers and additives in everyday dishwashing detergents don't just rinse off. They cling. They leave a thin film on plates and glasses, and when that ends up in your body, it can nudge your gut toward inflammation. And it's not only the chemicals themselves. That residue can also carry microplastics from detergent pods, plastic bottles, and other packaging, tiny particles you'd never see, but still swallow. Then comes the real kicker, the chemical cocktail behind the clean. Many detergents rely on chlorine-based agents, heavy-duty surfactants, and synthetic fragrances, ingredients that can irritate or even act as toxins in the wrong amounts. And alcohol ethoxylates, the compounds hiding in many rinse aids, are known to damage gut cells and may contribute to inflammatory conditions over time. So, now that we've seen what conventional detergents can leave behind, let's look at the swaps. First up, DIY blends. 1 scoop of washing soda to clean, 1 splash of vinegar to rinse. Add a little lemon juice if you want a fresher scent, and extra degreasing power. No toxins, no plastic, no mystery chemistry. Just sparkling dishes. For pennies. Next, the eco brands worth knowing. Ecover. Small, Ecozone. Solid tablets. Certified microplastic free, and packaged to compost or recycle. Plant-based, phosphate-free, and miles lighter on your health. And one simple rule, skip the synthetic fragrances. They don't clean a thing. They just load your kitchen with extra chemicals. Cleaner dishes, cleaner home, cleaner you. The switch is simple, and it starts today. And now, you've seen how microplastics slip into every breath, every bite, every product, and every room. So put that knowledge to work. Share the series, join the community, and let's explore more ways to protect our health and our home.